Success doesn't begin with money in the bank. It begins with thoughts in the mind. Before a millionaire builds a fortune, they build a foundation, and that foundation is mental. The average person chases wealth with the wrong tools, more hours, more hustle, more noise. But the wealthy, they train their thinking like it's their most valuable investment. Because it is. You see, wealth isn't something you stumble into. It's something you attract by becoming the kind of person who's worthy of it. And the only way to become that person is to start with the most powerful machine you own, your mind. Today I'm going to show you how to train your mind like a millionaire. Not in theory, but in practical, timeless, and powerful ways. You'll learn how the rich think, how they act, how they respond to problems, and how they build mental habits that serve them long before the money shows up. This isn't about flashy cars or giant houses. It's about how to develop the mindset that leads to those things if you want them. And much more importantly, the mindset that makes you feel rich long before your bank account catches up. The goal today isn't just to inspire you, it's to rewire you. To offer a new way of seeing, thinking, and moving, just like the top 1% do. Stay with me for the next few minutes as I walk you through how to train your mind like a millionaire. Let's dive in. Number 1, think long, act daily. If you want to train your mind like a millionaire, the first thing you must learn is to stretch your vision beyond the next week, the next month, even the next year. Millionaires think in terms of decades. While most people are obsessed with immediate results, the wealthy are focused on where they're heading 5, 10, even 20 years from now. And that long-term vision shapes everything they do today. They don't need instant gratification because they're not living for now. They're building for later. But here's the secret. While they think long, they act daily. They don't sit around daydreaming. They break that big vision into bite-sized, disciplined actions. They understand that the future isn't something that shows up one day. It's something that's built one brick at a time. And every single day is another brick. It's another chance to pour into the vision. Most people get discouraged because the results aren't immediate. But the millionaire mind says, I'm not planning for this season, I'm planning for a harvest that's coming. When you adopt this mindset, you stop chasing overnight success. You stop jumping from one idea to the next, hoping something clicks. You commit, you build. You show up day after day with faith in the long game. You begin to think like a builder, not a gambler. And the longer you stay in this rhythm, the more unstoppable you become. Millionaires don't win because of talent alone. They win because their thinking stretches further than the rest. While others are trapped in short-term survival, they're creating long-term freedom. They understand that a focused mind with a long-term vision is the sharpest tool in the success toolbox. Train your mind to see the horizon and train your habits to move one step at a time toward it. That's how you build a future worth living for. Number 2, rewire your beliefs about money. If you want to train your mind like a millionaire, you have to face something most people never do. Your beliefs about money. Not what you say about it, but what you actually believe deep down. Because what's buried in your subconscious controls how you behave, and you cannot outperform your internal programming. Most people are walking around with money beliefs that were planted in them as children. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. If you're wealthy, you must have done something shady. And they carry those beliefs into adulthood like chains they never asked for. But here's the truth. If you believe deep down that money is bad, you'll push it away. If you believe wealth is reserved for others, you'll never claim it for yourself. And if you see yourself as someone who just gets by, that's exactly what your life will reflect, no matter how hard you work. Millionaires train their minds to think differently. They believe money is a tool, not a curse. A means to build, serve, and create. Not something to worship, but something to use. They see wealth as an amplifier. If you're kind, money helps you give more. If you're creative, money helps you build faster. If you're disciplined, money becomes a multiplier. But they also understand that money doesn't solve problems. It exposes character. That's why they focus on becoming the kind of person who can handle wealth before chasing it. Now here's the challenge. You have to rewire the system. Start by becoming aware of the beliefs that hold you back. Catch yourself when you say things like, I can't afford that, or that's not for people like me. Replace those thoughts with new ones. Say, how can I afford that? Say, why not me? Say, money flows to value and I'm learning how to create value every single day. Changing your beliefs won't happen overnight. But every time you confront a negative thought about money and replace it with a strong, empowering one, you're retraining your brain. You're laying new tracks. You're making your mind a place where wealth is welcome, not rejected. You see, training your mind like a millionaire isn't just about strategy, it's about identity. When you begin to see yourself as someone who deserves abundance, who knows how to earn it, use it, and grow it, your actions follow. Your habits change. Your energy shifts. And slowly but surely, your results catch up with your new reality. Rewiring your money beliefs is not optional. It's essential, because no amount of effort can overcome a belief system built on lack. But when your mind believes in value, growth, and potential, you become a magnet for everything that wealth represents. And that's where real transformation begins. Number 3, master your emotional triggers. One of the greatest differences between those who stay stuck and those who rise to wealth isn't just intelligence, talent, or even opportunity. It's emotional control. The ability to stay centered when life pushes you, when people test you, and when pressure starts to build. Millionaires don't just have strong bank accounts, they have strong minds. And that strength comes from mastering their emotional triggers. Most people are ruled by their emotions. They react instead of respond. Someone criticizes them, and they snap. A plan falls apart, and they panic. They face a loss, and they shut down. But here's the truth. If you can't control your emotions, you'll never control your outcomes, because your mind will always be at the mercy of your mood. Millionaires train themselves differently. They don't ignore emotion, but they don't bow to it either. They step back, observe it, and ask, is this emotion helping me or harming me? When fear creeps in, they don't let it dictate their actions. They lean into courage. When anger rises, they pause before they speak. When anxiety shows up, they breathe through it and return to their mission. That's mental discipline. Think about it. Opportunities don't always come dressed in comfort. Sometimes they arrive in chaos, in challenge, or in unfamiliar territory. If your emotions get the best of you, you'll walk away from what could have changed your life. But if you've trained your mind to stay steady, you'll step forward while everyone else retreats. Mastering your emotional triggers also builds trust. People follow calm energy. They invest in confidence. If you're easily rattled, it shows. But when you remain composed in tough moments, others sense that power. They want to work with you, learn from you, and support you. That kind of influence leads to open doors, new relationships, and wealth-building connection. So how do you train this skill? You start with awareness. You begin to notice your patterns. What sets you off? What drains your energy? What conversations make your mind spiral? Then you create space between the trigger and the reaction. Maybe it's a breath. Maybe it's a walk. Maybe it's a moment of silence. That space gives you power. And the more often you choose calm over chaos, the stronger your mental muscles become. Remember this, emotional mastery isn't about suppressing how you feel. It's about directing your energy toward what serves your future. Millionaires don't let their feelings drive the car. They use their vision to steer, their habits to accelerate, and their mindset to stay on the road. Emotions may show up in the passenger seat, but they never take the wheel. Train your mind to master emotion, and you'll unlock a level of strength most people never touch. Because once you're no longer a slave to your emotions, you become the kind of person who can handle anything and build everything. Number 4, delay pleasure, multiply power. One of the most powerful habits of a millionaire mind is the ability to delay pleasure. Now that doesn't sound exciting. It doesn't make for flashy headlines. But let me tell you something. If you want to multiply your results, if you want to grow your wealth, your discipline, and your legacy, this one principle will change your life. Most people live for the moment. If it feels good, they do it. If it's comfortable, they stay in it. If it gives them a quick rush, whether it's scrolling, spending, snacking, or skipping hard things, they're all in. But that kind of thinking never leads to anything great. Because the truth is, short-term pleasure often leads to long-term pain. And on the other hand, short-term discipline leads to long-term freedom. Millionaires train themselves to resist what feels good now in order to create what feels incredible later. They skip the unnecessary purchases so they can invest. They say no to parties so they can build skills. They wake up early to move forward while others are still dreaming. That's not punishment. That's wisdom. They know that what they're building is bigger than the momentary temptation in front of them. And here's the part most people miss. When you delay pleasure, you don't lose joy. You increase it. You multiply it. You trade the crumbs of short-term comfort for the feast of long-term success. You start to live a life that most people only wish for, because you did what most people refuse to do. Training your mind to delay pleasure gives you control. It gives you leverage. It puts you in the driver's seat of your decisions. Instead of being ruled by impulses, you're guided by vision. And every time you say no to something cheap and easy, you're saying yes to something valuable and lasting. But this kind of discipline doesn't come naturally. It's built through practice. You start small. You choose to finish the task before you check your phone. You hold off on spending until you've hit your savings goal. You go to the gym even when your body says, skip it just this one. And over time, something incredible happens. You begin to trust yourself. You build mental toughness. You prove that you're not just someone with big dreams. You're someone with the strength to fulfill them. Millionaires don't live for the weekend. They live for the life they're building. They understand that sacrifice isn't loss, it's investment. And every act of delayed gratification is like depositing discipline into your future. The more you invest, the more powerful you become. So the next time you're tempted to trade progress for pleasure, pause. Ask yourself, will this choice move me forward or keep me stuck? Because those who master the delay of pleasure don't just win, they win big, and they win for life. Number 5. Study success like a skill. If you want to train your mind like a millionaire, you have to treat success the same way a professional treats their craft, as a skill that must be studied, practiced, and sharpened. Success isn't luck. It's not magic. And it's definitely not something that just happens to people. Millionaires know that success is built on learning. Deep, focused, intentional learning. And they treat it like their life depends on it. Because in many ways it does. Most people stop learning once school ends. They close the books, turn off their curiosity, and go through life reacting instead of growing. But the wealthy, they become students for life. They read constantly. They listen to ideas. They seek out mentors. They invest in their own development. They know that the mind, like a muscle, must be stretched and challenged to grow stronger. Here's the key. Millionaires don't just consume information. They absorb it. They don't read just to finish the book. They read to change how they think. When they find wisdom, they apply it. When they meet someone wiser, they ask questions. When they hit a wall, they don't quit. They look for lessons. That's the difference. Success leaves clues. And those clues are everywhere, in biographies and business breakdowns, in books that cost $10, but carry $1 million idea. Millionaire minds don't take that lightly. They know that just one insight, one shift in thinking, can unlock a whole new level of results. But it takes humility. It takes the willingness to admit that you don't know it all. It takes discipline to put learning ahead of entertainment. And it takes focus to sit down with a book or a mentor and give them your full attention. But that investment pays back tenfold. Because the more you grow, the more you can earn, lead, and impact. Think about it. If someone spends 5 hours a week studying wealth-building principles while someone else spends that same time scrolling, who do you think will be further ahead in 5 years? It's not even close. Your future depends on what you feed your mind. Feed it junk, and you'll get confusion. Feed it wisdom, and you'll get clarity. Feed it growth, and you'll get results. So make learning a non-negotiable. Wake up earlier if you have to. Replace 30 minutes of distraction with 30 minutes of development. Read the books, watch the interviews. Take the notes, apply what you learn, and never let a day go by without feeding your mind something that makes you better. Millionaires don't wait for success to show up. They prepare for it. And the most powerful preparation tool you have is your ability to learn. Study success like a skill, and over time you'll start thinking like the successful, acting like the successful, and eventually living like the successful. Number 6, earn confidence through action. Let me tell you something that most people get completely wrong. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's not a gift. It's not personality. And it's definitely not about standing tall and talking loud. Real confidence, the kind that moves mountains, opens doors, and creates wealth, is earned. And it's earned through action. Too many people wait to feel confident before they start. They wait to feel ready, feel capable, feel worthy. But that's not how it works. Confidence doesn't show up before the action. It shows up because of the action. You build it by doing the hard things. You build it by keeping promises to yourself. You build it by showing up when it's uncomfortable, by pushing forward when it would be easier to quit. Millionaires understand this deeply. They're not confident just because they've made money. They made money because they became confident. And they became confident by stacking small wins, day after day. They didn't need to conquer the world all at once. They just needed to take the next step, then the next, then the next. Over time, those steps created proof. Proof that they could handle challenges. Proof that they could grow. Proof that they were capable. And that proof is where confidence lives. Confidence isn't built in your head. It's built in your behavior. You don't think your way into it. You act your way into it. You take the uncomfortable phone call. You follow through on the workout. You say no when it's easier to say yes. You finish what you started. Every one of those actions is a deposit in your self-belief account. And the more deposits you make, the stronger you become. Now don't confuse confidence with arrogance. Arrogance is loud and insecure. Confidence is quiet and solid. It doesn't need to prove anything. It just shows up and gets to work. And here's the thing. When you earn your confidence through real action, no one can take it from you. Because it wasn't given. It was built. Brick by brick. And if you're thinking, but I failed so many times, good. That means you've been in the game. And confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from persistence. Every time you get back up, every time you learn from the setback, every time you try again, you're building something stronger than talent. You're building trust in yourself. The millionaire mind doesn't chase hype. It builds identity. It becomes the kind of mind that says, I've done the work, I've shown up, I've earned this belief. And that belief becomes a force that moves goals forward, that attracts opportunities, that inspires others. So stop waiting to feel confident. Start doing the things that make you confident. Take action, even when it's small. Especially when it's small, because those small moves lead to big shifts. And one day you'll look in the mirror and realize this version of you didn't happen by accident. It was earned through action. Number 7. Focus like a laser. If you want to train your mind like a millionaire, you've got to treat your focus like gold, because that's exactly what it is. Pure, powerful, and rare. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Notifications, opinions, endless scrolling. It's a war for your attention. And most people lose that war before the day even begins. But the millionaire mind, it doesn't play that game. It learns to focus like a laser. Millionaires understand something most people don't. Energy that is scattered produces average results. But energy that is focused becomes unstoppable. They don't try to chase 10 things at once. They pick one goal, one mission, one purpose, and they give it everything they've got. That's how they build momentum. That's how they make progress. That's how they win. When your mind is sharp and directed, even the impossible starts to look manageable. But when you're distracted, overwhelmed, and constantly switching gears, even the simple things feel like a mountain. Focus brings clarity. It brings speed. It brings results. But let's be real. Focus isn't automatic. It has to be trained. That means setting boundaries. That means eliminating distractions. That means saying no to what doesn't move the needle. Not every email needs an instant reply. Not every headline deserves your attention. Not every opportunity is worth chasing. Millionaires know this. They filter their world. They guard their time like it's sacred, because it is. And it's not just about time management, it's about attention management. What you give your mind to, you give your life to. So if you're constantly distracted, you're constantly derailed. But if you're locked in, if you're intentional, if you're clear, now you're dangerous in the best way. You move faster, you think deeper, you execute better. Here's something else to remember. Focus isn't just about work, it's about presence. When they're working, they're fully in it. When they're resting, they actually rest. When they're learning, they absorb. No split energy, no halfway effort, just full engagement in whatever matters most in that moment. So if you want to rise, start cutting the noise, turn off the unnecessary, build routines that protect your mind, give yourself deep work time, free from distraction. Practice doing one thing with full intensity instead of 5 things with half your mind. And when you feel your attention drifting, bring it back again and again, because every time you reclaim your focus, you sharpen your power. The millionaire mind doesn't wander. It doesn't get pulled in every direction. It's locked in. It's intentional. It's disciplined. And because of that, it produces results. most people can only dream of. So if you're ready to rise above the noise, to create something meaningful, to move from scattered to unstoppable, train your mind to focus like a laser, that's how you turn goals into victories. Number 8. See problems as profits. If you want to train your mind like a millionaire, you must learn to flip the script on how you see problems. Most people avoid them, complain about them, run from them. But millionaires, they lean in, because they understand a secret that most never learn. Problems are where the profit is. Look around you. Every product you use, every service you rely on, every solution that makes your life easier, it all exists. Because someone saw a problem and didn't run. They solved it. And in solving it, they created value. That's what the millionaire mind does. It doesn't see obstacles. It sees opportunities in disguise. Now that doesn't mean they enjoy struggle. It means they've trained themselves to respond to it differently. Where others see stress, they see strategy. Where others freeze, they get curious. They ask, what can I learn here? How can this challenge make me sharper, smarter, stronger? And that kind of thinking turns setbacks into stepping stones. You see, problems aren't just roadblocks. They're invitations. Invitations to grow, to innovate, to lead. And every time you rise to meet one, you expand your capacity. You stretch your thinking. You increase your value. That's how millionaires are made. Not by avoiding the hard things, but by solving them better than anyone else. But here's the key. Don't just react. Respond with clarity. Don't get emotional. Get strategic. The people who rise to the top aren't the ones who avoid pressure. They're the ones who perform under it. And that comes from mindset, from training, from seeing each problem as a test that sharpens your edge. Think about it like this. A problem is a puzzle. If you solve it, you get the reward. And the bigger the problem you can handle, the bigger the reward you can receive. Whether it's in business, relationships, or personal growth. The ones who rise are the ones who don't flinch when the challenge shows up. But it's not just about external success. It's about internal growth. Because every time you tackle something hard, your confidence grows. Your resilience builds. Your belief in yourself deepens. You start seeing yourself differently, not as someone who avoids pressure, but as someone who thrives in it. So the next time life throws a curveball, don't panic. Pause. Think. Ask yourself, what's the profit in this problem? What's the skill I can learn? The strength I can build? The opportunity I can create? That question alone separates average minds from millionaire minds. Because the truth is, problems aren't the enemy. They're the proving ground. The forge, where strong minds are shaped. And if you're willing to face them head on, to think instead of complain, to solve instead of stall, you're not just surviving the challenge, you're turning it into a win. That's how the wealthy think. And that's how you train your mind to rise above. Number 9. Guard your energy like your wealth. Let's get something straight. Your energy is not unlimited. It's not something you can waste and expect to keep producing at a high level. If you want to train your mind like a millionaire, you have to start treating your energy like money in the bank. Because the truth is, the most successful people don't just manage their time, they fiercely protect their energy. Think about it. What good is a brilliant plan if you're too drained to execute it? What good is $1 million opportunity if your mind is foggy, tired, or scattered? Millionaires know that their energy, mental, emotional, physical, is their fuel. And if that fuel runs low, nothing else works. Most people give their energy away too cheaply. They say yes to everything. They entertain drama. They scroll endlessly, argue needlessly, and stay busy instead of staying productive. And by noon, they're running on empty. Then they wonder why they can't focus, why they feel overwhelmed, why they're stuck. It's not a motivation problem. It's an energy problem. The millionaire mind is trained differently. It filters. It protects. It sets boundaries. It asks, does this give me energy or take it away? If it drains, they cut it. If it fuels, they lean in. That goes for people, tasks, conversations, even thoughts. They choose carefully what they allow into their space because they know the cost of distraction, the cost of negativity, the cost of emotional clutter. Guarding your energy doesn't mean becoming cold or isolated. It means becoming intentional. It means realizing that every yes to something small might be a no to something significant. You have to conserve the best of you for the work that matters most, for the habits that build your future, for the relationships that lift you higher. So start asking yourself, what drains me? What depletes my drive, my focus, my peace? Is it the news I watch, the conversations I entertain, the food I eat, the people I allow too much access? Start cutting those leaks. Even small ones add up. And at the same time, identify what charges you up. A walk, a book, silence, exercise, time with sharp minds. Feed those things. Make them part of your routine. And here's the truth. Guarding your energy might not make you popular, but it will make you powerful. Because when your energy is clean, focused, and strong, you make better decisions. You work faster. You think clearer. You lead better. And you grow faster. That's how the wealthy operate. So stop giving your energy away to everything and everyone. Start treating it like a precious resource. Because it is. The sharper your energy, the stronger your results. And when you guard it like your wealth, you'll begin to feel, think, and perform like someone who's going places. That's the mind you want to build. That's the power you want to protect. Number 10. Shape your circle to shape your mind. You can train your mind all you want, but if the people around you aren't growing, encouraging, or pushing you forward, they'll end up pulling you back. That's the hard truth. If you want to think like a millionaire, you need to surround yourself with the kind of people who think, talk, and act like success is normal. Because whether you realize it or not, your environment is programming your mind every single day. The voices around you eventually become the voice inside you. If you're around negativity, doubt, and small thinking, you'll start shrinking your own dreams just to fit in. But if you're around hunger, excellence, and possibility, you'll begin to stretch. You'll start asking better questions. You'll stop settling and start growing. Millionaires know this. They don't just build businesses, they build circles. They surround themselves with winners, learners, builders, people who are ahead of them in some way. People who challenge them, not coddle them. People who hold a higher standard, and they're intentional about it. They don't leave it to chance. They curate it on purpose. And it's not just about networking, it's about alignment. They ask, does this person inspire me or drain me? Do they make me sharper or smaller? Because you don't rise by staying comfortable. You rise by being in rooms that require a better version of you. That's where transformation happens. Now, this doesn't mean you cut off everyone in your life. It means you prioritize influence. You spend more time with people who pull you forward. You limit time with those who pull you back. You protect your mind the same way you protect your goals, because they're connected. And sometimes you outgrow people. That's part of growth. Not everyone who started with you is meant to finish with you, and that's okay. You're not judging them. You're just choosing to rise. And rising requires letting go of comfort zones that have expired. So here's what you do. Look at your circle. Who are your 5 closest people? What do they talk about? What do they believe is possible? What habits do they live by? Because that's your mirror. That's what you're becoming. If you don't like the reflection, it's time to upgrade the circle. Join groups that think big. Find mentors who challenge your limits. Surround yourself with readers, doers, creators. And if you don't have that yet, become that. Be the one who grows. Be the one who speaks vision. And others like you will start to find you. Remember this, you don't rise alone. You rise with the energy you allow around you. Shape your circle wisely, and you'll shape a mind that's primed for greatness. Because when your environment lifts you, your mindset can fly. And that's how you train your mind like a millionaire. Not just by changing your thoughts, but by changing who influences them. Everything we've covered today leads to one simple truth. Success doesn't begin with talent, money, or luck. It begins in the mind. The difference between those who wish and those who win lies in how they think, how they train, and how they lead themselves daily. The millionaire mindset isn't a gimmick. It's not a fantasy. It's a collection of habits, disciplines, and beliefs that anyone, yes, anyone, can build. But it doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. You've learned how millionaires think long and act daily, how they replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones, how they master their emotions instead of reacting to them, how they delay pleasure to multiply power, how they consume the right knowledge, build confidence through action, and protect their focus like treasure. You've seen how they treat problems as opportunities, guard their energy, and choose their circle with precision. Every one of these traits is a brick in the foundation of a mind trained for wealth, Not just financial wealth, but wealth in confidence, purpose, and peace. Now the question isn't, can you do it? The answer is yes. The real question is, will you train? Will you show up day after day and rewire your habits, your thoughts, your responses? Will you demand more from your own mind than the world expects of you? Because that's the challenge. That's the invitation. Your mind can be your greatest asset or your biggest liability. It can talk you into greatness or trap you in mediocrity. But here's the power. You get to choose. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect past. You just need a decision. A decision to begin, to grow, and to never stop becoming. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start now. Begin today. Build a mind that sees clearly, acts boldly, and believes deeply. Build a mind that commands respect, attracts opportunity, and multiplies value. Build a mind that leads the way. Because once you master that, everything else begins to follow. You were never meant to stay average. You were designed to rise. But first you must think like it, train like it, live like it. Your future is already waiting. It's just waiting for your mindset to catch up. So take what you've learned today and apply it. Build the discipline, sharpen your focus, guard your energy, lead your mind. Because when your mind is built like a millionaire's, your life can't help but follow. Now go out there and make your mind your most valuable investment.